A Fox News alert, we are learning so much more this morning about that amazing, really unbelievable story of survival. The 7-year-old girl who walked away from a small plane crash that killed everyone else on board, her parents, her older sister, and her cousin. That plane went down in western Kentucky on Friday night. The family was flying home from Key West, Florida. The second grader walked 3/4 of a mile through the woods for help. Tough woods, too. How did she manage to survive? Joining us now is the director of the Center for Trauma, Violence, and Injury Prevention, Dr. Cynthia Burr. We're grateful to have you on, Doctor. So can you give us some sense, how could, it's almost to a non-specialist hard to believe that a child could, in cold weather with no shoes, wearing light clothing, injured, survive 3/4 of a mile through the woods. How do you think she did?
Well, I think there's definitely that fight and flight kind of situation that kicks in when something like that happens, and she had some survival instincts that I think are innate at times, and you know, it was just one of those things where she probably had a lot of adrenaline on board, and she just knew she had to get to safety.
So adrenaline makes an enormous difference in times like this. Is that the point of adrenaline?
Well, yeah, definitely. It's a protective mechanism of our body to allow us to get through those kind of stressful times where we need to react in ways that we normally wouldn't be able to react. So it's definitely a fight-flight type of thing that takes over when this type of tragic event happens.
Now, there are a lot of details that we don't have at this hour, and I don't want to ask you to speculate too much, but she did survive when her 4 family members didn't. Any clue what could account for that?
Well, it's really hard to say. Like you said, it's speculation at this point. The NTSB will do a thorough investigation and we'll know exactly, or as close as possible, what happened. But, I mean, she is the smallest member of her family, and I do believe they said the plane was upside down when it was found. And so, you know, if there's any intrusion or kind of crush of the roof into the compartment of the plane, you know, being that she's the shortest, chances are she would be below the headrest of the plane, which would kind of help protect her. Yes. So that definitely could have been a factor, just merely because she was smaller than the rest of her family members.
Does where you sit make a difference in plane crashes, do you think?
It can, depending on the crash. I mean, it's hard to say that, oh, if you sit in this seat, you'll always be protected on a plane, because that's just not the case. Every crash is unique, and so in a certain crash, a certain seat may be safer, but that's not like across the board true. So it's really dependent on the crash and the forces that are seen during the impact event, and then the aftermath as well.
So we're reporting this morning that she has been released from the hospital, that she has a broken wrist, but is otherwise fine physically. Does that strike you as remarkable?
It is pretty remarkable, considering that it was a small aircraft and it sounds like it went down in a very dense wooded area. But there's a lot of safety features even on the smaller aircraft. I believe that aircraft does have 3-point harness seats where you have the shoulder belt as well. You know, it's hard to say exactly what other factors played into it. So, I mean, it is pretty remarkable, but obviously not unheard of.
Amazing. Dr. Cynthia Burr, thanks for putting that in perspective for us. Appreciate it.